Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the most complicated and nuanced specialization. Some consider it cumbersome currently in its iteration for the War Within, and Blizzard's goal and objective with it, and are they able to achieve that goal and that vision, which is reducing its complexity and making it more accessible as a specialization. You guys have been letting me know in the comments down below that there's very minimal rogue coverage, so I'm going to be doing my best here to cover the rogue specializations. I have spent a decent amount of time with all of the specializations, but not a huge amount. I do understand like some of their core mechanics and the major changes that are coming to the specialization, but also note that this is an alpha. Some stuff's not yet implemented. Likely all of this stuff is maybe bugged and or going to be updated and changed in the future, but I think it's important to kind of like get an eye on it to see what is their overall goal and if they're able to achieve it or not. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash the subscribe button. The first thing you're going to notice on Outlaw Rogue, at the moment at least, in Midnight, is that crack shot is gone, which was when you vanished, then you had a chance to like kind of just spam between the eyes and do a bunch of damage. And it felt weird because you're using your defensive cooldown or your escape mechanism in order to increase your damage, right? Think about it, if a druid was using bark skin to increase their damage and the like, it was a little bit kind of not intuitive to say the least. It wasn't streamlined or smooth either. So I am a fan of crackshot being gone, and basically the trade-off for that is that between the eyes, when you press, it just has a higher likelihood of resetting, so you get like these procs. It kind of feels like a Ret Paladin with Templar's Verdict. When you're getting like the free Templar's Verdicts, you're going to be getting that type of gameplay but with between the eyes pretty much at all times, which is a big deal. They've removed green skin wickers, I believe is what it's called. I'm not looking at it at the moment, so the little kind of pistol shot stuff, but they've given you kind of pistol shot procs anyways, so it still feels fine as far as the rotation on the training dummy, and I will go on the training dummy to show you what the rotation looks like now as far as like complications, and I will say it's still the most complicated just off the bat of any of the rotations. The next thing is roll the bones. So you see the tooltip in the bottom right here, 45-second cooldown, but instead now it's basically you can roll a 1, a 2, a 3, or a jackpot, which is a 4, and then you get all of them. I think it's a little bit easier to understand because you don't need to like know that like the shark or the coin or the whatever, like you just see a 1, you know you got a low roll. You see a 2, you got a mid roll. You see a 3, you're getting a pretty high roll, and if you get the jackpot, then obviously you won the lottery. And the tooltip's been adjusted for this, and as well as the icon for it, so it'll show a 1 on the dice. Like when we press it right here, oh, am I lagging out? When we press it right here, roll the bones, I got a jackpot. Of course, when I'm not attacking, I got it, and that gives me all the benefits, which is Sinister Strike has a 20% increased chance to strike twice and grant opportunity. Sinister Strike and Ambush generate 1 additional combo point and deal 15% increased damage. Restless Blades cooldown reduction increased by 30%, and you get 10% critical strike damage. So you can see if you get that yellow dice, you've got it, big jackpot. They tried to simplify it as far as understanding it and moving away from like the different icons and stuff to just try and make it an easier read, so that when you're going through your rotation, you're not kind of like deciphering a hieroglyphic at the same time as doing your rotation. You're obviously getting new Apex talents, and for Outlaw Rogue, that's going to be Gravedigger. Between the Eyes has a 45% chance to apply 2 stacks of its bonus to your damage dealt, which is great. The second point here, when you spend 5 or more combo points on Dispatch, you immediately strike your target with basically just an extra attack. It's like the random proc damage that we see from like the Warrior Weapon Master in the class tree for Warrior. And then the third and final one, which I think is likely going to be the real reason for going down the chain here, is when you dispatch, you have a 12% chance per combo point spent to hide a bullet up your sleeve, and when you've accumulated 6 of these, your next Between the Eyes consumes them and is free and deals damage as if you spent 6 combo points and immediately resets its cooldown. So it's going to make your Between the Eyes hit really hard and give you a double tap for free. So it's like this, you're like building up to this big moment where you go and you get this big double hit, which I think is going to feel pretty cool in those situations. Similar changes on the class tree to the other rogues, with Cold Blood becoming a passive now, with Alacrity becoming a passive now, so you don't have to worry about stacking that haste modifier on its own. And obviously, like these talents that revolve around Vanish, I think are going to change a bit, because you're basically going to use Vanish in PvP situations or PvE situations to stun things or to not die, as opposed to using it to do damage. I feel like a lot of Outlaw rogues are going to like that. Unfortunately, at the moment with the hero talents, these are still under construction. So we cannot look at the new ones. If I had to guess, based on the paths that we've seen for the other specializations, is that they'll probably just take the 4-set and 2-set bonuses from the current tier, slap those in there with some minor damage modifier, and then call it a day, if I had to guess. Hold me to those words, though. Hold me to those. I'm actually curious if that ends up being the case, because it's kind of been the formula, at least, for a lot of the other specializations that I've seen so far, but this one hasn't quite gotten there. Maybe it's because it's getting such a detailed overhaul. You have a couple of different utility options available to you now, something like Deadly Pursuit. After spending 15 combo points, if you spend no combo points for 4 seconds. So basically, you're on a raid boss that has a phase where it disappears, you can't attack anything, right? Or if you're in PvP and you got crowd controlled and you're not spending combo points, your Restless Blades effect will cool down 200% faster for 5 seconds until you spend a combo point. So it's only when you're out of commission that you'll be getting this, but if you think that happens a lot in all aspects of the game, so if you're having low uptime, this could be a really good way of just getting your adrenaline rush back, getting your roll of bones back, and getting your cooldowns back to get to your target or to start doing a lot of damage. So it's an interesting pain point that they've decided to go for and deal with here, but it'll only really be good in those types of situations. And then obviously you're going to be choosing between that or just extra AoE damage from your Blade Flurry, extra movement speed or extra stamina, or extra mobility based on your grappling hook, or cooldown reduction on your blind. So you've got a lot of utility, because when you take this out, it resets the whole thing. So you've got like these 4. These are kind of core. They give you a lot of damage, and you can kind of flip between these depending on the situation. If you think you're getting low uptime, you go for that. If you want more mobility, go for that. You want to be tankier, go for that. You want to get blind faster, go for that. And you're going to have kind of like that 4 talent point utility decision to make towards the top of the tree. You still have things like the Killing Spree with the big burst window with the shotgun still. We have Dragon Bone dice. The bonuses granted by the roll, the bones are stronger. Bonuses to chance for Sinister Strike to strike twice are 5% greater. Bonuses to Sinister Strike and Ambush damage are 5% greater. Is that the same bonus twice? I think it's the same bonus twice. Bonuses to Restless Blades cooldown reduction are 10% greater, and Jackpot's bonus critical strike chance is 5% greater. So obviously they're trying to streamline rolls of the bones, make it easier to understand, make it a little bit smoother rotation. But let's kind of just attack the training dummy and really see if this was achieved or not, right? So we'll start with Ambush. We'll build up combo points. We'll roll the bones, and then you'll see roll the bones up here. I got a 1, so a pretty low roll. We can use Between the Eyes. You can see it reset. We can Adrenaline Rush. That resets all of our combo points with our talent loadout. And then we go to build combo points, use the things that light up that build combo points, and then use Dispatch to spend those combo points, obviously. Ideally, we're getting more than 5 combo points, but I'm not a master of the spec. But you can see it's already a little bit more complicated because we got a low roll. We want to re-roll, and guess what? We got Jackpot. So we're feeling pretty good. We just got a Jackpot on our second roll. Obviously, you want to maintain Blade Flurry in AoE situations to get that extra cleave damage. So we're going to be shoving Blade Flurry into that rotation and basically just hitting the buttons that light up. And then if we get more than 5 combo points, we're going to press Dispatch. And if not, we're going to press Sinister Strike. But you can already see, like, even just describing that rotation is way more complicated than something on a rep paladin. I would just be like, build up Holy Power, spend Holy Power, bam, smash. It's definitely still very complicated. And, you know, the dice roll is a little bit easier to understand, but it's definitely still, I wouldn't put this as like a beginner-friendly specialization at all. This is still going to be, I don't even know if it really would feel like you need add-ons necessarily. There's just a lot of procs. Like, I feel like my ambush procking and then between my pistol shot procs, I feel like I just can't even get rid of the procs fast enough a lot of the times. I guess, you know, this is like first world problems. I'm complaining about getting too many procs, but like it just feels like you get a lot and like it's lighting up. It's kind of like the old enhancement shaman problem as far as trying to like get rid of everything that's happening and what should my priority be, which one that's lighting up is the most important at any given moment would be my kind of main concern with it at the moment. So I don't know if it's 100% been like resolved as far as like simplicity or accessibility in that regard. I would say that this is still very much so the most difficult spec, or one of the most difficult spec, at least melee, that's currently available in the game. So if you're coming into this and you're thinking like Outlaw Rug is going to be easy peasy, it's going to be really simple now. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. And I'm not really getting a lot of lucky procs here. Also, I don't know why my roll to bones isn't showing up on my personal resource display. A lot of the UI stuff doesn't really work, but not having it down here to see like what I got, if I got a 2. I do think that this icon is better than the other ones. Like I say, oh, I got 2 dice, I'm good. Or if I got 3, I'm good. Or if I get the yellow one, the gold one, then I'm really golden. You know, I got like the best roll available. I think that icon change is nice for roll to bones. But as far as rotation, it's still like very twitchy. When you have adrenaline rush and the reduced GCD, you still have like you're just gonna be like going really fast, trying to think of like, what do I need to press next? It's like playing Guitar Hero on like the hardest difficulty or something, like, because you don't want to spend less than 5 combo points, but you don't want to like overcap, but then maybe you want to spend all of these, like I have 2 things lit up at the same time, so which one should we prioritize in whatever instance? If pistol shot happens to proc also, there's just a lot going on basically, relative to a lot of the other melee specializations. I think that this is like a good first step as far as simplicity. I like the tooltip changes to roll to bones. I think moving away from needing to use Vanish is going to make it a lot more streamlined of an experience, and then Vanish feels more like that kind of escape mechanism, defensive, or team utility kind of ability that you're going to be using in those types of situations. But a lot of the stuff not yet built, so maybe that's going to add. Well, actually, I don't know if they should add more to it or take more away from it, possibly. But a lot of the pain points have been addressed, but I think it's still a very complicated spec to pull off just because of how low its GCD is, how many different procs are going on all at the same time, trying to manage and maintain like AoE buffs and things like that, which other classes don't really have to, right? Like maintaining something like Blade Flurry adds a lot more complexity, managing, you know, at what point of combo points am I at in order to use, you know, X ability. There's a lot more calculations that's going on into it compared to like the Ret Paladins. So don't think that this rework is suddenly turning Outlaw Rogue into like the Ret apocalypse that happened in Dragonflight. I do not think that's the case. They definitely addressed some of the core gameplay experience for people who main the Outlaw Rogue specialization, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to bring new people into it. I still think it's a little bit more complicated, and maybe that's a good thing. Again, like I use the analogy that like World of Warcraft's a music store and they're selling sheets of music, and you want to sell easy music, medium music, and hard music, because most people are going to buy the easy music because most people are beginners, and then maybe some buy the medium and very few buy the hard, but at least you've got the progression available. So like having some specs that are more complicated, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. You just need to accept that less people are going to buy the complicated music, but it's good that you're offering it because there are going to be some people who want complicated music. Now, it would be nice, in my ideal world or vision of the game would be that Outlaw Rogue has a complicated version and a simple version. So if you want to play the simple version of it, which is maybe the 1-button rotation, actually, I'm kind of curious now to test that. Can we test that here? I'm actually curious to test that. So, it's going to make me put wound poisons on because I forgot to do that. Now, so it tells you to roll the bones, Blade Flurry, Blade Rush to get energy regen. It can calculate for between the eyes, it looks like. No, it didn't. It didn't use it a second time at least. So you could just do the 1-button rotation. 1-button rotation is not that bad. Now I feel like I'm vibing, but obviously the increased GCD is going to be a problem. It looks like it doesn't use Adrenaline Rush, so we'll pop Adrenaline Rush also. This definitely makes it a lot easier. I feel like my brain is not nearly as stressed out now when I'm just sitting here and I'm pressing 1 button. So, you know, maybe this could simplify it. But as far as like manually doing the rotation, driving it on manual, I think it's a lot more complicated. But the 1-button rotation, this is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty nice. My brain is completely off. I don't know if there's maybe like a happy medium or happy middle ground that they would be able to hit. It's interesting that it's not using roll to bones though. I guess it can calculate that I got a jackpot, so it knows to not press roll to bones. That's what's going on here with the 1 button. That's got to be what it is. So it knows not to use roll to bones. If I get jackpot, now when it ends, it rolls the bones again. All right, the 1-button macro is better than I am, guys. The 1-button macro is definitely better than I am. I like the little animations as well that you got with the Outlaw Rogue, like all these coins popping off, and you got like the what's it called in the Wild Wild West movies, with like one of those little like dust bunny things rolling across the road or the highway in the Wild West, between like a pistol duel right there. I don't even know what that is. It's just randomly procking when I'm doing my rotation. So you just summoning in like a tumbleweed, I think it might be called a tumbleweed or something like that. With a 1-button rotation, this seems really, really simple and easy to pick up with. But obviously, its performance is going to drop heavily. If I had to guess, though, probably 95% of Outlaw Rogue players in World of Warcraft would be better off using the 1-button rotation still. And it would be like the top 5% would not, just because it's got so much going on with it. But that's my breakdown. That's my assessment of it. Again, apologies if that's not exactly what you were expecting for it. I think if you were a main Outlaw Rogue, they've definitely looked at like some pain points for you and tried to address those. But I don't think that everyone's going to be like fumbling in to try and re-roll to Outlaw Rogue like they were with the rework or something like that, which maybe is fortunate or unfortunate. We'll have to see as things develop, but that's my initial assessment of it right now. Thank you guys very much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and I will see you in the next one.